exactly is in this treaty? It is an agreement on pandemic preparedness that would grant the WHO absolute power over global biosecurity, such as the power to implement digital identities, vaccine passports, mandatory vaccinations, travel restrictions globally, standardized medical care, and so much more. But let's be specific about what this treaty does, because it gives enormous powers to the WHO in the case of a pandemic. But it also allows for just about anything to be called a pandemic. Quote, this treaty includes 190 countries and would be legally binding. The treaty defines and classifies what is considered a pandemic, and this could consist of broad classifications, including an increase in cancers, heart conditions, strokes, etc. If a pandemic is declared, the WHO takes over the global health management of the pandemic. What's more here, the WHO would be in full control over what gets called a pandemic. They could dictate how doctors can respond, which drugs can and cannot be used, or which vaccines are approved. And this is for the entire globe, not just one country. And it gets better, because at the same moment that this treaty is being drafted, guess who's back? Bill Gates has announced the creation of a pandemic germ team that will monitor sovereign nations and decide when they need to suspend civil liberties, force people to wear masks, and to close borders. According to Gates, the global team will be made up of some 3,000 disease experts under WHO purview and will receive around $1 billion per year in funding. Look at this, quote, the team's disease monitoring experts would look for potential outbreaks. Once it spots one, germ should have the ability to declare an outbreak and work with national governments and the World Bank to raise money for the response very quickly. Product development experts would advise governments and companies on the highest priority drugs and vaccines, end quote. The WHO has further stated that countries disobeying regulations dictated by their organization through their pandemic treaty may need to be sanctioned. So, are the claims that by signing onto this treaty that Joe Biden and Boris Johnson in the UK and Justin Trudeau in Canada and other Western leaders, that they're handing off sovereignty to the WHO? Is that true? Well, it seems to be, and it doesn't seem to be understated at all, but there is good news here, because none of this is truly binding. None of this here cannot be undone. Strong leaders in this country, men and women who believe in the rights of the people not to be led by unelected and unaccountable cronies and globalists, can say no. They can refuse, and without the power and the backing of the United States, none of this has teeth to it. That is fact. And that is why it is our responsibility as Americans to stand against this, not just on our own behalf, but on behalf of people around the world who will be rolled over by this new world order. Guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out